Good morning and welcome to the second day of our international conference, Art as a Reflection of Society, the Role of Art in Shaping Culture and Sparking Social Change. The second day of the conference, we are starting with the session number 5. Together we will have 6 sessions and they will be all streamed in a row, which means that you will be able to use the same link and participate in all our sessions today. The first session that we are starting now, the influence of art on shaping today's society, art as a vehicle for social change, gathered some interesting guests. Good morning, thank you for joining us today. The first presentation will be done by Renzo Francabandera from Italy. I will use this opportunity before I start reading briefly a biography of our first presenter to tell you that I would appreciate if we can stick to the time that we agreed before the next session is starting at 11:20, which means that we have roughly hour and something, so please just pay attention on time. My name is Natasa Kraljevic and I will be your moderator this morning. Renzo Francabandera, the first presenter here today, is university lecturer with a focus on performing art. Currently, he teaches the didactics of the image and digital languages at the University of Modena in Reggio Emilia, and has previously taught aesthetics of movement and body languages at the University of Turin. He holds a master's degree in economics from the University of Turin and a PhD in institutional economics from the University of Bologna. He also obtained a master's degree in arts and literature of the digital age from the University of Barcelona. He is the author of studies and research focused on the relationship between artistic performance and society. Renzo Francabandera is also an artist with a rich background in the performing arts. He has held solo exhibitions in various prestigious venues, including the Venice Biennale Theatre, the Maschio and Giono in Napoli, Palazzo dei Priori in Volterra, Piccolo Teatro, and Officina Ansaldo in Milan. He conducts workshops on performativity throughout Italy. The title of his presentation is The Presence of Diverse Bodies on Stage, Embracing Disability in Performing Arts in the Last Decades in Italy and Possible Trends for Cultural Welfare in Europe. Mr. Francabandera, thank you for joining us today. Please, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Natasha, and I'm very pleased to be with you and of course all the other colleagues which have connected, and I thank them all. So considering the short time available, I will not waste time furthermore, so I will try to now share my screen and start with my presentation. Just give me a second. I will wait. Okay. Here we are. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So my research is about the choreographic presence on stage of the different body, which means I am researching about the disability on scene, in theaters, in dance, in performing art, because I think that this topic is changing the way we perceive disability. The more we join and see theater, TV, dance with disabled actors, with people with disability, the more we get used and get familiar with this topic, and we become more integrated, and we accept disability as a part of normality. While some recent studies have shown that in Hollywood, only 5% of disabled characters are held by disabled actors. Usually normal actors act as disabled, which is rather strange, as you can imagine, but it's normal. Only 5% of disability is acted by disabled actors. But nonetheless, for sure, currently the art scene sees the participation of numerous artists with disabilities, who, although not always addressing their condition as the central theme of their performances, question the adoption of uniform and stable categories to interpret acting work. At the center of their creation seems to be the diversity of perspectives and way in which the body related to the subject. However, the condition of the relationship between the artist, identity, and gaze has not always existed in this way. If today disabled artists are part of theater seasons or official programs or major international festival, it is certainly not for the same reason as in the freak shows. We remember for sure, for example, the Barnum Circus, where in two centuries ago, or even last century, where those codified form of entertainment that presented to the public some performers with rare physical characteristics. The transition from the spectacularization of disability to its dramatization has gone through various stages concerning the presence and acceptance of disability in the social body, greatly influenced by the performing arts in recent decades. The relationship between increased acceptance of disability and social sensitivity emerges clearly precisely from the end of the First World War. And it's at the end of the First World War that these freak shows almost stopped in Europe because of the increased sensitivity arising the widespread presence of mutilated individuals, the blind, and the mentally ill, highlighting the dramatic entrance of the theme of vulnerability in normal bodies. Of course, in Italy, this happened in the prose with some well-known international artists. If you are fond of performing art, you will surely know the names of Pippo Del Bono or Societas Raffaello Sanzio, and a lot of these kind of actions in the artistic environment, in the Italian artistic environment, were due to a doctor, a psychiatrist, Franco Basaglia. At the end of the 70s, with his willingness to bring theater close to areas of psychological distress from which many Italian companies have emerged, working in social theater. So he was a central figure for Italian art about this. But also in dance, of course, international dancers, such as, for example, Dave Toole. Maybe you have known this artist before, you have seen some of his performances. I hope you can see my screen now, with his performances. He was a great dancer, a great performer, who was part of some international productions about art, although his body was seriously mutilated with the legs, as you can see from this video. Of course, maybe you can take note of the name if you're interested, and you can see later on his performance here. But also, for example, the work of Jerome Bell in 2012 here, you can see with the Swiss company Theater Hora. This work was really fundamental for the European aesthetics of course, I'm sorry, there are, I can avoid the, Okay, here. There were disabled people who were dancing, and this show was important because it was one of the first European productions with disabled people dancing. And in dance, this theme has increased year after year, becoming now a central way of bringing performance in scene and involving normally disabled people. So I was here, and in Italy, of course, there were dancers who brought the attention in their work around the theme of disability. For sure, the choreographer Virgilio Sieni was one of the central figures. His work, Danza Cieca, which means blind dance, with Giuseppe Comuniello, this performer was a blind performer, and his work was fundamental to build up a new aesthetic concept about disability on scene. The context and practices that have regulated the connection between disability and performing arts highlights how the case of a person with disability requires the not obvious recognition of the specificities of their body. Therefore, the representative form attributed to it and its stage presence becomes fundamental. And in fact, also other companies in these decades have worked. One of these, for example, is the Sicilian company Neon Teatro. You can see the name here, Neon Teatro. They are currently working with disabled people with also severe illnesses and with tetraplegic performers too. One of the central figures, I here present some central figures such as Chiara Bersani, for example. She worked around this new idea and concept of body presence with her heart functions as a mirror, reflecting the grammar through which the subject incorporates the other. The other meant as the audience, as all the people that is present in her shows. The self-representation of the body extends beyond the physical dimension and becomes an opportunity for expression and, crucially, for personal, social, and artistic emancipation. So all her language involves a continuous redefinition of oneself, of herself, rejecting the participation of the other as an objectifying authority. So the audience is not an objectifying authority, but herself as a performer redefines herself, rejecting her also the sort of normally way of looking this body as strange. So moving on from, stepping on from the perception of strange. Also Aristide Rontini is one of the Italian performers. He is lack of an arm. He cannot have an arm. He doesn't have an arm. So, but nonetheless, he has a very significant artistic and work background, as you can see from the slide here. All his artistic inquiry and interest explores the themes of identity, the relationship between the individual and society, and the connection between humans and nature. He is either a dancer, either a choreographer, so he is author of many choreographies going around in Italy. And as we will see in a few slides now on, he is also the coordinator of a network of disabled artists in Italy. I moved through because there are many possible things to say, but time is not enough for me. And so I will try to speed up. And also there was this recent performance, Brave, with a disabled artist. She was, Valentina Bravetti was not disabled initially, but she became disabled due to a neurodegenerative illness. and another artist, Arianna Bianchi, helped her, proposing her a cooperation which started during the COVID period, and they exchanged email one with the other, and the dancer Bianchi proposed to Valentina Bravetti, which was absent from the scene from decades, to start making small videos, small performances, suggesting her how to do in video connection, as we are doing now. So it started in this way, in this same way we are now getting in connection each other. And then it was transformed into, in 2021, in an experience returning back to theater. And so after 9 years of absence from the stage, Valentina is now the protagonist of the performance. And this was also very, of course, some things work, some things are working, but some other things are not working. As you can imagine, it's rather difficult. There is an important study, an important project financed by European Union, Europe Beyond Access, and this study shows that unfortunately there are shocking evidence. There is a shocking gap of knowledge, provision, and accessibility in the performing arts sector in Europe. For example, only 28% of theater venues and festivals regularly present or support works by disabled artists. So very few. 31% of all art organizations do not actively seek new work from disabled artists. And the most shocking evidence regard the fact that around 90% of theater venues and festivals do not involve disabled people in selecting other and commissioning process for artists. 90% of theater venues and festivals do not provide accessible marketing materials for blind people, dumb people, also on wheelchair. 90% of theater do not offer an accessible booking process, and 80% of theater venues and festivals do not have an accessible website. So as you can imagine, this is very, very shocking percentages about the lack of sensibility in European theaters about the disability. Of course, there are also best practices. For example, this network, the Europe Beyond Access, built up a network committing to create a network of allies aiming at questioning and discussing accessibility and inclusion in the performing arts. The goal is to raise awareness, disseminate knowledge and experience of the best practices, and encourage greater participation. In Italy, there are many theaters. As you can see here, there is a long list of theaters which are part of this project and have built up a network. But of course, there are still some difficulties. There are some well-positioned festival, for example, a leadership under this point of view is held by the Italian festival Oriente Occidente, which have experienced a lot of possible successful themes about accessibility and inclusive projects, engaging either artists, either audience in inclusive project, involving artists with disabilities, collaboration in creative, innovative performances, and exploring the aesthetic and artistic richness offered by diversity. This festival is committed to diversity, recognizes accessibility as an effort to meet the needs of diverse individuals and communities, conducts investigation into the wealth of aesthetics and artistry stemming from diversity. I have been there as a guest, as a journalist, as a professor, and I can witness that their effort is really incredible. They are really many steps behind the other in this. There are also networks. I mentioned before the artist Aristide Rontini. In 2020, along with other Italian artists with disabilities, he co-founded a network, Aldiqua Artists, Alternative Disability and Equality is the acronym, a newly established group at the forefront of advocating for the autonomy and rights of disabled artists. I finished this my presentation because here mentioning some difficulties that are existing, the issues regarding, of course, sensitivity of artistic decision maker, the sensitivity of political decision maker, logistical issues, because performances with disabled artists mean, of course, to be supported by the theater. There are logistical issues, the possibility to access to easy access to the theater venues, and also, of course, economic issues which regard the fact that many of these companies, and artists, of course, need, in most cases, people supporting them. So there is the disabled performer and another person, typically with these disabled artists, who brings the wheelchair, who pushes the wheelchair. So often these companies remain trapped in territorial logics, preventing their work from being known to a broader audience, even though they are many times really excellent artistic products. I finish my presentation with this last slide. I ran really very fast. I'm sorry if I spoke very fast, and I hope I was clear enough to all of you. But what are the hypotheses for the future of performing art and disability? Of course, we can create events and festivals dedicated to disabled artists, allowing them to showcase their repertoire and be recognized by professionals for their successful creation. But what is the risk of this creating specific festival for disabled artists? It's a sort of a freak show effect. We were talking at the beginning of freak shows as a sort of cage where disabled people were sort of maintained, and the creation of these events might bring again the risk of a specific place where all disabled artists are on stage. Of course, disabled artists prefer a melted situation where they are with other people without disability, creating melted situation as normality, melting the normality and the disability as part of normality itself, disability as a part of normality. So this means, of course, a greater effort, a greater money expenditure, which you can imagine, because this goes progressively toward an evolution of collective sensibility and accessibility issues through widespread and comprehensive initiatives. But the risk is that this requires longer times, and the dominance of linguistic and cultural impoverishment originated from the model of social media, where we know that on social media there is a sort of aesthetic model with bodies, with perfect bodies, with Photoshop bodies, with a sort of idea of perfection, with which often is not reality, but is most in the end of artificial intelligence and Photoshop. And here I terminate my discussion, and I thank you all for the attention you gave to my work. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Francabandera. This was very interesting, and I hope we have some spare time at the end of the session to discuss a bit, because we already have some questions in the chat. So whoever is interested to ask a question, you can write directly in the chat to us here at the university. Our next presentation is Theatre of Pain in North Sri Lanka. This morning we have a guest from Sri Lanka, Thevanayagam Thevananth. I hope I pronounce your name correctly. It's It's a guest from Jaffna, Sri Lanka. He worked as assistant lecturer at the Drama and Theatre at the University of Jaffna and the director of the Media Resources Training Center, the same university. Now he's the director of active theatre movement in Sri Lanka. He completed his Bachelor of Arts special degree, BA Honors, and Master of Arts, MA from the University of Jaffna, and Master of Science, Master of Philosophy in Communication from the University of Madras, India. Currently completed his PhD at Madras University, India. Last 30 years, he has been working in the field of drama and theatre in Sri Lanka. Active Theatre Movement organizes a Nallur Drama Festival every year during the annual Nallur Temple Festival. It is a very popular theatre festival in North Sri Lanka. So far, he has written, directed, and acted in more than 55 plays. Mr. Thevananth is doing research on theatre communication in war and post-war Sri Lanka. He has been using theatre for the psychosocial development work of the people affected by the war and disaster. Mr. Thevananth working as the editor of the Drama and Theatre magazine. Good morning and welcome. Please, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Yeah, welcome to all. I think you hear me. My sound is okay, no? Yeah. So first of all, I want to share my presentation. That is, that's Theatre of Pain in North Sri Lanka. That's my presentation title. Then you all know. Then we are in Sri Lanka. The Sri Lanka located in place in South Asia. That's in a red color. Then that's a place we are living. This small country, we have a problem of ethnic crisis. We have two different ethnic groups. One is Tamil and Sinhala. Then from the independent, we have a problem. Then Tamil people, they are feeling they are oppressed by the majority people, Sinhala majority people. That's the reason time to time we have clashes, and we had a long war. Last 2009 it's come to end, but still we are in the post-war situation. Here then I explained that the period, the chronological period, that's pre-war and war, IPK, war for peace and all these. Because there were limited time, I don't want to give detail and more about this period, but in 1993 there is a big riots in Colombo and other places. Colombo is the Sri Lankan capital. That place, many of the thousands of people were beaten and killed and burned to death. Looted houses were burned. Tamil chased from Colombo. So that time they were said is Tamils, they must go to their homeland. That's in north and east. That's a place Tamils they are living in more. So then from that day, the Tamil Jews, they were started struggle against the government, and they gradually turned into the armed struggle. They were attacked the army camps, army army personnel and police and other things. Then again, the 1978, the government has introduced the law of terrorists against the law against terrorists. So that's the any time anyone can arrest, and they were kept in custody for 3 days, and they can torture and other things. It's a granted permission for the arrest Tamils, and they were the people is tortured by the government. So then it's gradually is the Tamil militant people, they were organized, and they earlier they were in the terrorist is kind of the hero in among the Tamils, and they form an army, and they have came into the traditional army force. So this time, then all the time there, then when the war is in the place, there were a lot of problems, violation against women, and torture, arrest, and houses were damaged, bombing. So all those things happen. So this in my research, I have taken 20 plays during the period 1980 to nowadays. I have selected the 20 plays, which plays they are speaking about the war tragedies. So that's why I call that theater of pain. I think this concept was earlier introduced by James Thompson. He was visited the Sri Lanka, and he collected the materials from the theater persons, and he identified in Sri Lanka, northern, and especially in Tamil part of the theater is about the speaking about the pain of the war. So here then I am explaining power relation expressed in the theater is Sri Lankan government and Liberation Tigers of Tamil, that's in we call LTT. Then individual persons is in the middle. They were struggled, or they were suffered all those power relations, and especially external forces, India, UN, and Europe, and others. So these power relations is everywhere we can identify pre-war, war, and post-war period. So then Sri Lankan Tamil theatre mostly rooted in ritual, tradition, and religious customs, and also they have a modern style of plays from 1980s. So theatre documented war tragedies all the way through the period. Sri Lankan theatre is documented war tragedies, but same time these theatre personalities, they were facing a lot of threats and dangers, and sometimes they were arrested, and they were cornered by the government. So here then I explain little bit about the theater. Then one is the Puludin Kidangal Song of Dust, that speak about the mass exodus that was happened in 1995. So after the resettling, then I was speaking about this play, about how far the people over the night travel through the hardship, and also they were suffered a lot from the displacement. So this kind of things, they are speaking about a lot of dramas. These dramas were really different styles. One is realistic plays, and also is we have chosen the mythological stories that's related to the current situation, because when we are talking directly to the public, sometimes we may arrested by the government persons or the military. That's the reason we have chosen the myth, and then we speak about the stories. Somewhere else is happening, but it's really the audience, they know that's stories about them. So this is kind of things is about the mythological thing. Then this one is Akini Perumuchu, that's a breath of fire. Still we are having that during the war, there's a lot of people, they were disappearance. They are mothers and also wives, they were suffering, and they were searching them. Still now they didn't find out them. So we did one survey and research among the these disappearing families, and we have wrote a play about breath of fire. So this one is I think is already I have sent the video to you. Then please play that one. Then I can little bit explain one, and also I can come to the conclusion. Is it possible to play the video?
Just one moment, please.
Okay.
கடற்கரையில உரு குலைந்த நிலையில 5 சடலங்கள் கரையில் இருக்காங்க. உள்ளுறுப்பை வச்சுதான் அடையாளம் காண வேண்டும்.
குலையாது ஏழை உயிர் பறித்தார் கடல்தனிலே உடல் தெரியாது கடல்தனிலே உடல் தெரியாது தேடுது இந்த உள நெருப்பை அணைப்பவர் யார் உலகம் தேடுது உருவம் மனசினிலே உருக்குலையாது உருக்குலையாது
கலட்ட வேணும். இல்ல, நான் தாலியை கலட்ட மாட்டேன். என்ற புருஷன் சாகல, என்ற புருஷன் சாகல.
Enough, I think. So, Natasa, can we stop now? Okay, thank you very much. This is speaking about the disappearance issues. You know, in our tradition, the wives, they are having this thali that's holding in their neck. So if the husband died, then they remove that. But in this case, they can't remove because they don't know what happened to their husbands. They were disappeared, or sometimes they were died, or they can live. So this thing is societal, social issues also is in that sense, and also economical problems they have. They have a burden of caring their parents and also child. These things we speak about, and when we performed on our stage, that was really impact of the people. Then they feel someone's they are caring of them, and they are looking of them also. That's kind of thing is help for their psychosocial development. So here in Sri Lanka, we have a lot of stories about the war, and speaking about the war pain, and also then we are giving courage to them, how can they overcome the issues. Here this psychosocial development activities through children theater, and especially we work in women's also. Then they come to the space, and then we call that the safe space. So then they come to the space, and they can dance, and they can express themselves, and they can talk each others, and they find how can they live in the society, and how can find a way to live the society. So these are the activities we are still continuing. That's active theater movement. That's they are organizing the festivals in August every year. So these themes we have spoken in our theaters, and also a lot of things we have educated them, and we have given courage to them. And these are the things what did theater in Sri Lanka in civil war, supporting peace, mental relief, counseling, emotional expression and catharsis, developing courage and hope for the life, education, knowledge, and empowerment, mobilizing people to face conflict. So these the things is we are giving the remedies or grievances to the painful people when we are speaking, and same time we are giving their courage to talk about people suffering, losses, effects of war and their lives, and effects on their future lives. It can only be present beautifully and truly by drama. Drama should articulate problem of affected Tamil community and thought-provoking to find solution to the problem. In today's environment, where all the media and commercialized working against the masses drama, the excellent media that care about the welfare of the people. That's the power theater is having. The drama have the courage to speak about the subject matter, especially the voices of vulnerable people. So this is the thing is happening here in Sri Lanka, and but still is having the problem of taking forward to theater and theater journey, theater institutions. A lot of economic crisis also we are facing, but still we are encouraged to take forward to future. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for this presentation. I will go immediately next presenter, and we will have some time to discuss later on. Our last presentation in this session is Theater as a Resilience Tool. Our guests are Jaroslaw Siejkowski and Siyar Turko. I will use this opportunity to shortly read their, briefly read their biographies and to give them the floor. Jaroslaw Siejkowski is cultural creator, actor, director, and theater pedagogue producer. The co-founder of Art Junction Foundation, works at Grotowski Institute in Wrocław, collaborates with Theater Bureau Podgorica, significant independent theater groups in Poland. This group He took a part as an actor and co-creator in their numerous performances and collaborative works in nearly 60 countries around the world, receiving numerous awards. With Art Junction Foundation, he initiated and realized a number of social and artistic projects in Poland, Turkey, India, Sri Lanka, Georgia, Germany. Initiator and programmer of international symposium Saving Hope, theatrical activism in spaces of conflict, prepared in collaboration with Grotowski Institute and ITI Worldwide Network Theaters in Conflict Zone in June 2023. Also with us this morning is Siyar Turko from Rojava, Syria. He's an actor and dramaturg and drama coach born in Kobana, Syria, Rojava. Educated in acting and performing arts at the Damask University, worked in cultural centers in Kobana and Sev Gallery, Erbil. He was voluntary supporting organizers team of Art and Theater Festival in Kobana in 2022. In 2023, he participated as director and actor in residential circles in the Goethe Institute Iraq project, part of the thesis partnership. Gentlemen, good morning. Thank you for joining us today. The floor is yours. Jaroslaw, please.
Hello. Good morning. Yes, we will start and try to be brief because we have no much time. And I would like to share a presentation and we will talk somehow together with Siyar. So just give me a second. Does it work now?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So just we would of course the theater as a resilience tool is an important tool in everywhere in the world, especially in the areas of conflict.
The sound, and you're a little bit louder, the sound.
Okay, then I switched to another microphone. Just give me a second. Okay, is it better now? I will just go closer. Do you hear me now?
Yes, it's perfect.
Yes. Okay.
Yes, thank you. Okay. Then we will talk about the theater as a tool for, social theater, but especially a tool of resilience in the moment of crisis. But we will focus on one area in the world when I had the chance to make a little research, and Siyar is a person who is living in the area, so he has a much more experience with the whole situation. The area is northeast Syria, and I would introduce a little bit the political situation of it. Sorry, that the presentation is not moving now. Then I will. Okay. Okay, this was a motto, but I will skip it now and maybe we will be back to it together because we have no much time. And this is the area we are talking about. This is northeast Syria, the part which is mostly inhabited by Kurdish communities, but also Christian communities, Arab communities, Yazidi communities, and this area is also known as Rojava. Rojava is a socio-political concept, and very briefly, I will ask Siyar to tell a few words about the Rojava, the area, because maybe the facts are not very much known for everybody. You should make on microphone. Your microphone is off. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you. The Rojava is mainly from Kobani, Qamshlo, Afrin cities. The Kurdish majority region, it's located in North Syria. The unique political system is based on democratic equality, cultural diversity, the freedom of religion, and the rights of women. It gained its attention for its fight against ISIS and its efforts to establish a self-governing system. Rojava consists of diverse ethnic groups, but it's right now suffering from many sides. At first, the radical groups, ISIS war, and now the Turkish government attacks against the region. The Turkish army now is bombing the area, the infrastructures of area, which affects the lives of thousands of people. They are bombing schools, hospitals. They are bombing streets, civilians, places. Lately, they made more than 200 airstrikes in 1 week.
Okay, so this is it for now. Yes, briefly.
Yeah.
Okay, so then we know which about which area we are talking. Of course, the content of the whole Syrian war in this is important context of it, because the Syrian war is one of the longest conflicts and the strong conflicts going in this century. So which also matters, because a lot of people on the theaters in that area are using the tool, the art, for somehow to work with the trauma, with the war trauma of people. But briefly, I will also go to the next picture, which is the very significant person for the Kurdish theater and the theater in area, and also showing that how important, how symbolic a theater is for the community. Heval Yekta was a soldier, but also an artist and a theater person. He was creating as a being a soldier connected with the PKK in 90s. He was also theater. Sorry, he was also theater artist. But the most important, the very important thing with his history, he just committed a symbolic act, because in the year 2004 he committed a suicide. He burned himself in Aleppo in the special symbolic day. There was the World Theater Day, 27th of March, and of course he performed somehow this act, because he acted on the street with kids, which he was also working with and giving them also a present and candies, and then he committed a suicide and left a letter, a message, which is an important message for theater people in Rojava. And this message is also often read at the festival, because the community created a festival which is named Yekta after his name, and this festival is performed every year in Kamishlo during the war time. The title of the festival, for example, in 2019 was "Theater is Alive." So it means that theater is an important tool for the community also, and for the rights. And I will focus on the three persons who are working in the area, the three persons with a different history, but using a theater as a tool for the community. One of them is a person. Is a theater director and artist from Kamishlo who established theater group called Komashano. He was also an artist during 90s, when the performances in Syria, the Kurdish performances, wasn't legal, and at that moment the performances was of course performed in the society, but only with the special conditions, especially during the national holidays. There were like appearing of short performances on the street and immediately emerging because of the danger of the police, of the the Syrian government. And I will play a very little part of the material, not the whole of material, of how works the Komashana, how works the company Ibrahim Ali he created. And I would like to say this company is an independent company, so he's working as a building worker and created a theater for kids for working with the war trauma in the one of the basement of the houses in Kamyśla. And I hope now the movie will start. It's not starting, so then I will. So hopefully you hear the sound, and it will be just a little bit of movie, but I want to show you the condition.
لفيجر زمینه
Private.
ناوندا آمادەکاریە شارەکەری هاتی دامەزراندن لەبەر لەویجلی ئەم کاری خۆبرێ دەبن چه پەروەردە بن چه سمینار بن چه پێشکەشکردنا شانوا بن ئەم دیکە شانوانەیە لەسەر ڤیدە پێشانوی ئەم شانوی بە پڕانیاوە پێشکەش دەکەن هەرچی ئاڵاوێک بوو ئەم ji bo موسیقی بکاتنن هەرچی ڕۆژیامەی یاخۆن سەر کار دەکەن و ئەم ڤاڵاهیە گۆهەی ئەم جهێ پەروەردایی شاگرد لەبێ دەرێ پەروەردە دەبێت و لەبێر جهێ جلوبەرگێنەی شانۆی بۆ خاکینە واڵامێ ئەم باجنەوە بکارکێنن چ جارە گەوجن ژمارە پێویست بن ئەم ji ber derdixin yan jî ê bû em tînin em li bir hiltînin we pirdûxana komê ya Kopenhagê nivîskarê şanogerî Ehmed İsmaîl ev hemû pirtûkên şanogeriyê ne yê ku piraniya mamosta Ehmed İsmaîl diyarî komê kirine ev jî dengehek xort ji bo şagirdan bo jê perwerdê bigirin û gelek derdora me jî.
Okay, that was just a part of the film, but we have no time. But it shows the condition and how this company and group was created, which is not supported by country, even is not supported by the local government, because of course the Rojava has a local administration, local government, which is also dependent with the political situation. This company is completely independent. This is one of the theater day, theater, I mean the International Theater Day in the basement in Kamyśla, and this is the part of the workshop they perform with the adults and kids. This is the performance Ibrahim Ali is performing, which you see the real situation, the UN tents, and the performances with kids, which are performed outside in the streets. This is the part of the performance which was made by the company, which this performance is very strong connected with the situation and trauma they survived, because this is talking about the ISIS situation. I will try to perform just a few seconds of this shadow play, which is the showing what is the topic of the performance and how they talking about things, their own fears.
تبساري بابي فكا بابيتا عبدالا خدي شورو مرتالا خدي هاسبي فعلا هاسبي فحلا بالدركن زينو زيرا للسركن كجوكرا دبركن كجوكري
Okay, then we will skip it because it's longer, but it's a very a kind of strong story, and this is young people performing in the theater. And then we will go to the next person. We wanted to focus our research, because we are during the research, during the development of research together with Siyar, the Mehteni Ersalan. I'm just talking about this. He is working in the Afrin, another part of the region, but the situation in the region is not simple. The area next to Afrin is, I show you on the map, when you see, maybe this is the map of North Syria. What is on above is Turkey, and when you see the green drone, because this is the map which is showing actual incidents, war incidents, which are in Syria. So maybe this map is from last week, so you see some incidents there. But this yellow area above Aleppo is a small is enclave of refugees which are from the city Afrin, which is here. The city Afrin is a Kurdish majority area, but in the year 2018, in March, it was invaded by Turkish army. So it created a big wave of refugees who had to leave the country, and they gathered in the area near to the city Tal Rif, and in the camp, generally called the Al-Shahba camp, and they still are trying to keep there, but they are totally isolated. So that means they are not with direct contact with the government of Rojava. So every resources like oil, food, and everything has to be dealt with either with the Turkish or with the Syrian government. So the situation there, it's extremely complicated and extremely difficult, but they still doing theater with the different possibilities and conditions. This is just the close-up of the area of Tal Rifat, when the Al-Shahba camp is placed. And generally in the area of Afrin, when the theater life in the Kurdish communities was possible, which means after 2011, because before 2011 was not legal in Syria, they created a lot theater performances, and these performances are attended by many people, because I mean this maybe was the only channel of spreading the culture of the Kurdish community in the area. So they created the festival in 2012. This festival was held in city Afrin, which is now invaded by Turkish forces. So these are few pictures from the festival, which was already in Afrin. But the next part of the festival was happening after 2018, after the invasion of Turkish army in Al-Shahba camp. And this is the short film we will see in the whole, in the one piece, because it's showing the situation in the Al-Shahba camp and how the Mehdin Arslan and his company were working.
Afrin has been the site of many battles between Syrian Democratic Forces and its allies against Islamic State fighters. Consequently, the Shahba refugee camp has become home to many displaced Afrin residents who face new daily challenges and struggles. While members of the local theater group are missing most of their sets and props, it has not stopped them from practicing their art.
We need to be creative. We need to be able to create something out of nothing. These challenges give us hope to have higher morale. We used to perform our theater plays on stage in Afrin, but now we have to do it in this tent. But we're still happy that we can carry out our activities.
Their play and its message grew out of their current circumstances.
We're working on a play about Afrin, so that children can see Afrin from here as well. There are two sides of this play, the good and the bad. Some of our friends play the roles of a rooster, a horse, and a donkey. They represent the good in our play.
The lack of stage facilities in the camp makes putting on a show more difficult.
Our possibilities to perform theater plays are so restricted. You see how hot the weather is, and it makes it harder to perform. but we will still say we will continue performing our plays for children.
The group's director says they do it for the children who have been forcibly displaced.
Our first message is for children, and each theater play should convey a message. It should be meaningful. This play is about our situation. The main message of the play is that one should not trust the enemy.
Following their artistic passion has been both challenging and rewarding. But amid the uncertainty, what keeps them going is the entertainer's adage. Despite the challenges, despite the risks, the show must go on.
Okay, thank you. So then we will go quickly through the rest of it, but it was just a glimpse of this is how the theater looks. But then the community decided to build a theater building in the camp, which I will just show you the phase of how it was built. And this theater building is capacity of 400 people, which is now working in the camp. This was the film how the theater was built, but we will skip that film during the time. And they realized the 4th Festival of Mitan in the camp. And this year they had a plan to make a 5th festival in that conditions, but this festival should be in December these days. But this festival, because of shortage of resources, shortage of oil, because the oil cannot come there because of either the Syrian governmental forces and of course the Turkish occupation forces, they don't allow to deliver the resources. They had to stop the idea of making festival this year. They postponed it to the January when they will be possible, because there is no electricity there. All the electricity depends on the oil, which has to be transported through the areas. So these are the preparation for the 5th Mitan Festival in the same theater, which was built for the community. This is now most of the actors, they are not in the place because many of them immigrated, but they still work with the young people. This picture is from a few days ago, how they prepare the performances for the festival in Al-Shahba camp in 2024 January. And yes, and this is another festival they created in the area of Rojava, but I will also skip this because we have no much time. Okay, I will stop now my sharing. Did I stop it? Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Sorry, we had also prepared another story about another person who is an Arabic person living, working in area of Raqqa, which was the capital of ISIS a few years ago, but it's not possible to show it all in that time. So if you are interested, we of course can send you all materials, send you information, the contacts for people who are still in the place and working with the theater as a resilience tool. So this is, I mean, everything for now, because we are short of time, but we would like to share much more, but yeah, we would be happy to do it on site separately with some of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, both of you. Thank you, all of you, this morning for these moving presentations. It's really important for all of us to hear about all of these important and amazing things that are happening around the world. All these presentations are showing the basic need of every human being, of especially artists, to create, to perform, to express themselves even in all circumstances. Thank you so much. I would like to use the rest of the time, which is not a lot, to ask you a few questions that I received in the meantime. And one came for our first presenter, Professor Francabandera, and it's regarding your work with the disabled people in the theater. The question is, because in Montenegro, this is still not out there, it's still not so present, but probably it's not the only society with yet not embracing this kind of theater. My question is actually not my question, but I'm just asking you, is the audience in Italy ready, the general audience, is the audience ready to embrace this kind of theater? What do you think? Do you think, are they ready? How do you think do they feel about this?
Well, as all the social phenomena, can you hear me? Okay. As all the social phenomena, as we all know, the more they get continuous, the more the practice, an artistical practice, a sign becomes continuous in the communication, the more it gets accepted by generality of people and embraced as a normal sign. Of course, as we all know, because we all go to theater, we all go to concerts, we all go to performing art, especially my delighted colleagues, which are, of course, fond of theater and belong to other international well-known experiences from Poland to Sri Lanka and all over the world. As we all know, the more we include these kind of signs in the performing art, the more they get used by, they get familiar from a generality of people. Disability, illness regard not a small percentage of the population. There is almost 1/3 of population which is affected by diseases, by illness, by disability. Also, the elder part of the of society, of course, is somehow involved in many topics regarding disability. So, for sure, the more we include weakness amongst the feelings that we have to consider fragility, the more we allow people to get familiar with this. There are many programs in Italy, starting from many experiences located in different parts of Italy. One of these, well-known one, is a project called Well Dance, which originated in a festival in Bassano del Grappa. This festival is B-Motion, and they started with this project called B-Motion Dance Well Dancers, where they kept all the people with Parkinson disease, and they started practicing dance with them. And from them on, it's now almost 10 years, this project has been awarded with the prizes and is spreading all over Italy with other communities which are starting practicing. And this year, they also made a sort of master to train other professionals to go in the other regions and open new well dancers groups in other regions. So it's not as quick as snapping the fingers, but it's necessary to start and then to get financed and try to find economic resources to develop and give other people the opportunity to express themselves. The more we do this, the more we go in contact with people, with public, with the audience, the more people get familiar and accepts to see also ourselves disability, because it's not a matter of the other disability. We are all disabled somehow. We are all fragile identities. So it's not a matter of accepting, it's a matter of self-recognition. Those people act as a mirror towards ourselves, toward our self-fragility, toward what we can do to ourselves, because we are all wounded, we have all diseases, and if we have not them, we will surely arrive to a point of our life where this will happen. And not arriving ready and familiar with this, it's a big shock, because otherwise you will not be able to face your fragility when it will arrive to you.
Thank you very much for your response. I think it's important for us also to discuss a bit more this subject. So thank you very much for bringing this topic to us this morning. I'm glad also that Jaroslaw is present this morning to hear your presentation, because I was personally introduced to this kind of theater in Poland. So I know that Poland is really working in this field of art. The next question that I received is for Mr. Thevananth, and the question is your theater and artwork supported by the local community in a sense of local government, government in general, or how is it financed? I mean, do you have some support, or is independent artistic work, like in case that Jaroslaw introduced us with?
Then most of the time we were supported by the community, not for big funding actually. Then sometime that's in NGOs, that's non-government organizations, so like USAID and others. That's not much help for us actually. They have their own mandate and they were strict on their subjects. But that may help us to give some instruments and some sort of support. But most of the time we are going to the community and we are collecting. Sometime we perform in the public places and we collect the collections. And also in some cases the festival from this year, then we have collected small money ticketing, and we get the money. But in general, we are talking, we are suffering with the as a theater dramatist, we are suffering with the funding, and also is suffering for livelihood also. So we do some other work, and then we do this theater. So this kind of things is going on. That's the reason is most of the theater works are not reflecting to the other countries. So this is a good opportunity. We express our work because of we are already working with the Grotowski Institution, and Jaroslaw also is very much keen to show our work in outside. So that's a reason now. Then we are little by little coming out, but most of them that's not a big support for the institution and government. In government side, we didn't get any support actually. So they have a cultural department, but they didn't support us even single cents. So still we are having struggling, and we are having this theater in Sri Lanka. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Hard times. One more. We have just a little bit of time for last question. Jaroslaw, Siyar, particularly Jaroslaw, I know that you spend a lot of time in that region, and you work a lot, and your institution is partnering in this field a lot. So you showed us a bit circumstances and an environment in which the art is created. And I would like to ask you, is there any support from side of your institution, in a sense that artists can come, can maybe participate a bit in your work here? I mean, here in Europe, do they have any possibility of share knowledge? Because I know there is a really artistic richness in that area. So I'm just asking how this communication can be shared.
Yes, we will answer briefly. I want also to Siyar to have a word about it, but this is something what maybe I skipped because it was at the end of my presentation. It was a little bit shortened. That I think the main thing which is a need in the area, which is my feeling like a person who is just, I mean, a witness of what's happening there is a lack of the real possibility of contact, a real possibility of cooperation between the countries, because people who are from Syria, even the people like Abdurrahman, who has no ID, he has no travel either to Iraq, but other people with the Syrian passport, they can travel only to few countries, and to get a visa for Europe is enormous difficult thing for them. So this is an issue, how those people has to be supported, how those people could be in contact, in touch with the other artists in the other countries. I mean, we have some idea. We are just researching the possibility of work, of using the tools like remote tools to be in touch, because also for us in Europe and also for people in the Middle East, not only in Rojava, not only in Syria, it's very important to know each other, especially the young active people who should have a contact and interact. This is something which we're totally lacking at the moment. Even the situation is worse because of the political changes. The wall we built, the mental wall we built, is bigger, higher, stronger. This is disaster. This is something we should maybe think that we should break through to find a hole in that wall. But this is the opinion, and this is the most important lack which I wanted to underline at the end of my presentation. But Siyar, he has to maybe express himself from his own position, because he is actually in Iraq. He has a Syrian passport. He is a gifted young actor and director. He cannot really travel and work with people abroad. Siyar, I give you, this is your time now to express what you feel, what is the most needed in that terms.
Thank you so much. Actually, you know, the situation of Syrian people in general and Kurds in Syria specifically, as artists, we are suffering from the weakness of our passport in Syria. So we are not allowed to travel too much to a lot of countries, only limited countries. We can't get the European visa, not for tourism, not for artistic or any other stuff. So this we feel like we are locked or limited. You know, we have a lot of power. We have a lot of ideas. We have a lot of things to do, but we are limited of the region and of the ID we hold.
Yeah, and politics, the main international politics.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Thank you all for this great presentation, this amazing session we had this morning. I really hope that audience enjoyed. I apologize that we didn't have more time. I think for each of these topics, we would need at least an hour to really discuss. So I again would like to add that I hope that we will have very soon some other opportunity to do so. We are continuing with session 6. Session 6 is in Montenegrin language and ex-Yugoslavian languages, and the next session in English language is at 12:45. The same link can be used. The topic in English is cultural memory values we must not forget. In this session, we will have colleagues from Yerevan, Armenia, from Serbia, and from Italy. So for English speakers, see you at 12:45, and Montenegrin speakers can just continue the next session. Thank you again.
Thank you.